to do today?
Well, that's a lovely question because we've planned it to a certain degree, but we're going to be creating in front of you.
Right.
So we're going to be doing an entire look, you know? So we started off with a headpiece, mouthpiece, and a garment. All involving the themes that you've read about. But I don't want to give away too much because you've got to see what happens. We were asked to make a headpiece, which was lovely and it's interesting, but when I get given a brief, I usually say yes, and then I do the exact opposite because I get really bored. So I'm not making a headpiece, I'm making a hat, I'm making an entire look. And you can't come to SHOWstudio and make a headpiece. You don't come to SHOWstudio and make a mess.
Okay.
So we're doing a lot of stuff. But with really, I don't know, modest materials, like we're using stuff that you can get anywhere. Like elastic is going to be, make an entire garment made out of elastic.
So where did the name Word of Course come from?
It's a really good question. It is essentially a cycle of the moon. I think it's just after a new moon. Like I think actually today and yesterday is a void of course moon. And basically it's bad luck because if you start any project during a void of course moon, it's destined to never be completed and it's doomed. It's a dark period. So if you're, it's really dark and melancholy, and if you were born on a void of course moon, your life is going to be a tragedy. And you're never going to fulfill things that you're meant to. So I kind of love the idea of calling the label something that was never meant to reach its potential, and it was never meant to be anything because that's kind of what people always thought of me and Sean when we were working hard and growing up. Not our parents, but no one really believed in us, so we just thought we'd call this project something that was doomed to never do well. And ironically, it did quite well.
When I was a younger teenager, I think I did try to express myself through clothes, but I never felt comfortable doing it. I preferred to make something and create something out of it instead. Like I just wanted to be a designer and to know what went into the designs. I didn't really have an ambition to make because I knew how impatient I was to make something for myself, so I never thought I'd turn out something for someone else. Whereas it was actually the opposite that turned out. Like I can make something for everyone else, but I can't make it for myself. I'm not bothered. I don't want to do it for myself.
I actually made lots of stuff when I was growing up. I never designed it, but I used to always make things. I used to always cut stuff up and cut jackets up and stud things and go crazy. Wow. But I never designed, so it's really weird that we're kind of the opposite. Well, this job is 24 hours a day and we have to be ready to jump. It helps living together because it means when we get a deadline, our massive jobs, we get them at like 3 in the morning and it has to be ready in 48 hours from design to confirmation to production to delivery. And if we didn't live together, I don't know how that would happen. It would be iPhones and iPads, you know. So we're there and like the design table's in our apartment, the studio's somewhere else. So, you know, I can get up at 3 in the morning if Sean's not there and design, or Sean can do it when I'm not there.
Yeah.
The ball never gets dropped.
A lot of the time, the masks are Chris's baby because he loves them. He really loves them. And then I get to really enjoy actually making the garment thing.
The reason there are masks in the collection is because the face is such an interesting part. I don't want to stop a garment at the neck. I think it's important for the art of it. Well, and I don't know, I wanted to do something organic on the top, like a bit biological, because I really love that like mutated stuff. And I love tits because they've got a good sense of humour. So basically, instead of just having 2 boobs on top and being an art student, I'm sort of degrading little shaped, organic, sculpted bits of polystyrene to fall down from it. Instead of just having 2 forms of having some sweeping down and then I'll cover it in black latex.
Can you show me this side?
Yeah.
How long will that take to dry? Is it quite quick?
When I put that heater on in front of it, it usually says 68 hours, but we never have 68 hours.
Everything's been done because we know what's been done so far, so you have to think about it from the opposite end, what hasn't been done. So think outside the box. I don't think what we're trying to do is trying to dictate the future of fashion.
No.
We're just trying to please ourselves.
We're just entertaining ourselves. Not even remotely concerned about trends.
The pressure is only on me, or on me and Chris's work. Because again, I don't believe that we design fashion or clothes for other people, we design them to please ourselves.
I don't really like to take visual inspiration, it's more like a feeling, isn't it? It's more of an emotion.
I know, it moves so fast all the time, it's like, there isn't always one thing that we like.
It isn't, and though I will say
it's like
that
doing research for a project.
yeah, it is worth saying though that I love the aesthetic of the bondage stuff, obviously, because it's really honest. I don't know if you've ever really been in a massive sex shop, and it's not a taboo, like I'm not saying you're going to be perverted to do it, but if you go and look at sex shop clothes, they're the most honest things you'll ever see on a rack. You know, they don't hide why they're there. A pair of pants with a big zip up the front and back. It's like, I find it really fresh and honest, so, and the aesthetic is dark, and I guess I like dark stuff.
Sometimes we do try to move it further away from fetish though.
Yeah, like we like to think that it's, you know.
We don't want to be assumed to be like a sex label, you know?
Because we're really not. We always keep our eyes open, and, you know, I think like the people we work with, like Nicole and Anna, we're always online and listening to people and looking for new images and just live like that. Do you want to live with your eyes open and you watch everything? It just sort of seeps in. I just listen to music because it just starts making images in your head. It's easy to do that, do you know what I mean? I think it was her obsession with pop culture that got me addicted to it though. They used to watch MTV and record their favourite music videos so they wouldn't have to watch the shit ones when it came to Friday night. So all the friends would come round and they'd have a drink, and a little 5-year-old me would be sitting in the corner, and they'd press play and all the best music videos would come on. And they'd be obsessed with what they're wearing, and I'd be like, so, yeah. That's why I get excited now. To be able to dress a pop star is like being able to touch a little bit of that magic, isn't it? It's exciting. It is. It essentially, this is the foundation for it. I don't know what the final one's going to be because I don't know what's going to be perfect for it, but the idea is that the open mouth is going to have a scream of blood coming out of it.
Wow.
Well, not literally blood, but a surreal interpretation of it. I like, basically, when we work with our themes, I love themes that are surgical because nothing is more intimate than, this sounds a bit twisted, but you know, you think sex is intimate, and that's intercourse. There's nothing more intimate than a knife. How much trust do you give your doctor when they're slicing into you? So I think surgery is a very interesting thing. And I also, a lot of my friends in Berlin do body modification performance art. And it's very romantic, really. Like my friend bleeds and writes beautiful French poetry, and the two of us, and writes about his love with his own blood until he passes out. And I wanted him to be here while we did this because I was going to get him to write in the back wall in his own blood, and then I was going to get him to bleed me so that I was bleeding as this was finishing because I wanted to bleed for it. It's like a metaphor for it. But he's busy, so that didn't happen. So my blood's staying in my body. But the idea extended to, we love using body parts. And I love the shape, obviously. You've got the dick heels. I think breasts have got a great shape, and I had these in the studio, and I wasn't sure if I was going to use them, and I just thought, I don't want a boring hat, so I just put 2 tits on top. It's feminine. Sometimes it doesn't need to be a reason for something. Sometimes the reason for it being pretty and you wanting to make it is the reason it's happening. So I'm interested in the things I've told you about, and I'm now making something. Sometimes superficiality is enough of a reason. I really believe that.